Hello, hi everyone. In today's session of Startup Conversations, we have Ernee with us. Ernee is the co-founder at Bespoke Habitat. His company recently secured a $1 million in angel investment to venture into the world of co-living. Ernee left a very cushy career in IT sales to venture into entrepreneurship. So today we have him here. He will be sharing with us about how he is focused on creating a differentiation for the business in a very competitive space. And he will be talking a little bit about how he left his job, how he transitioned from a salaried employee to a business owner, and his thoughts on the future of property. So today, this is not a business or feel good podcast. We want to deep. I want to find out who is Ernie, what makes him tick, and I don't care about being just politically correct. So Ernie,
Hello. Hey, thanks
hello,
for having me.
hello.
Thank you so much.
Ernie, is there anything that you want to share about yourself before we start?
Uh, okay, I can. No problem. I do a quick introduction of myself. So, hi everyone. My name is Ernie. Um, as what Chris had mentioned, right? I actually been in the IT industry for quite a period of time, right? I do involve in the sales. So before I left my corporate world, I actually take care of the APEX, Asia Pacific markets. So during that time, people who are actually in the IT industry, APAC market is actually quite big. So it also means that a lot of times you got to travel quite a fair bit, right? For family members like yourself and myself, it's definitely not easy because our young ones are still growing up, right? But that's also the key drivers, right? Saying that, hey, perhaps I should really start thinking about my journey, all right? So give you a quick background of what happens. So when my firstborn was born, both my wife and I we start to think, hey, what do we really want in our life? So both of
Mm.
us are very big fans of property investing. So that's how we started, right? We started and we believe that, hey, how can I get out of my rat race and how can I get my wife out of the rat race? So I'm a big fans of Robert Kiyosaki, right? The authors of Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah.
So I've been reading his book. Any books that came out, I read. Any of the podcasts he have, I watch, and that's actually inspired me myself. So I told my wife that, hey, we should start planning and start charting our financial freedom journey. So that started about 10 years ago. I would say about 10 years ago. So we want both of us to get out of the rat race, right? So we can actually focus a lot in our kids.
Mm.
um, I'm very fortunate. So I work hard together with my wife. Both of us are in sales. We save a lot. But that's not the right strategy, by the way. That's not the right strategy going into property investing. So, but things that we don't know, right? So we go in, but we managed to get something out of it. We invest in properties and at the angles, we do have some passive rental income. And I managed to bump my wife out of rat race. So that
Mm.
was how it started, right? So I
Mm.
I, I want to get my wife out of rat race, and we make it. So during that time, she was really fully out of rat race, and it means that living expenses are not being affected. Whatever thing, the last drawn income, the cash flow that we built are able to support her, right?
Right.
But it doesn't mean that I'm out of rat race. So only she's out of rat race. Yeah. So during that time, we started planning, hey, what can we do more from there? and that eventually leads to the journey of Bespoke Habitat. Yeah, that is a bit of my background of how we started from there. So hopefully that's a quick introduction about myself from corporates and eventually how I go into Bespoke Habitat. Mm.
Mm. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I mean you mentioned a lot about, like wanting that freedom to spend time with your kids.
Mm.
But I mean starting a business is
Yes.
it's so busy, right? Like I mean,
Mm.
is it giving you the freedom that you're looking for?
Um, as of now, when we are scaling, right, it's definitely not at the moment because
Mm.
we are building teams, right? Uh,
Mm.
we started Bespoke Habitat in 2019. During that time, my wife is really in the business, right?
Mm.
She pushed for it, and there's only like two of us, so I support her. But
Yeah.
her role is to bring me up, right? Her role is to bring
Mm.
me up. But during that time, it's definitely not easy, as what you mentioned. For startup business, right? all the fairy tale story that we read in any of the articles saying that, oh, it's good to go into business and you make a fortune out of it. I mean, definitely there are fairy tale story, but you need a lot of efforts and energy to push it through. So from there, we start, just two of us, we started 2019, and we start to scale, right? Because we found a strategy and the formulas to scale our business. And from there, first unit 2019 September, now we have about near 150 properties that we manage, right? It also means that if I divide it by number of weeks, right, it's like every week we take one unit. So that's how the
Yeah.
scale that we are going through, right? And then
Yeah.
we build our teams. We have about 15 to 16 of us now. That's
Mm.
how we grow, right?
Mm.
Definitely not 100% on the business, not yet, but it is still very big hustle in the process.
Yeah.
Still pushing it through. We started UK. We started a lot of things from there. Yeah.
Right. Right. So UK, you have already started operations in the UK.
Correct.
Wow.
So in Singapore angle, we manage property. We most of the units is we don't own it, right? We
Mm.
lease it from owners. We told
Mm.
them that what we're going to do. We are very full transparent in the process. We want to add
Mm.
values to them. Most of the owners are okay with that. All right. That's why we flagship. We came in as a technology property management company. We use technologies to help us to scale. But in UK, it's a bit different.
Mm.
As my backgrounds, right, I like property investings. So
Yeah.
that's my root, right? I really like
Mm.
property investings. So from the
Mm.
angles, we went in. We also do co-living, but the only
Mm.
difference is we own the properties,
Mm.
correct? So we own it, and then we make it into co-living, and then that's how we push it through. So it's slightly different as Singapore operations. Mm.
Right. Bob and James says hi to you.
Hello, hello.
So the operations are a little bit different. Um,
Mm.
I think you answered the first question already. Going on to the next question, which is what has been the biggest obstacle for you in leaving your job to start the business?
All right. Wow. This one, you will feel your heart a bit sinking a bit because when I'm much younger during that time when I pushed myself to corporate ladders, right, taking care of more and more roles, like starting in SME enterprise sales, then taking care of country managers, become taking
Mm.
care of Singapore, then taking care of ASEAN, then go into APAC. Wow. So you keep growing, right? Because your
Right.
responsibility actually increase. But of course, the paycheck also increase, right? But that's also
Mm.
the difficult parts. One of my coach that told me, he say this thing. I say, which are the things that's most addictive in the world? Which drugs is the most addictive? He actually told me salary is the most addictive thing. If the salary don't come in the next month, right? You cannot breathe, right? You suffocate the
Yeah.
process. So that was a time that I know that, hey, this is not what I really want in my long journey. And the good thing is I bumped Jolene out, my wife out of rat race first, right? So I know that it is something doable, right? And I don't just leave with nothing. My wife start to push up a bit, right? So you remember that I mentioned her role is to bring me out, right?
Yeah.
But whatever build up that we done, right? It cannot bring me out, right? To be the same par as what I received from my last corporate
Your current, yeah,
jobs, right?
your
It
pay
cannot
was
match.
so high.
Yeah,
In
cannot
short,
match one. There's no
how much of
way.
a pay cut do you take?
Wow, if you really, wow, it's confirmed more than 80-90%, to be frank.
Wow.
It's a huge drop, right? So
Wow.
So if you ask me, can match or not? If you're really so passionate in your business, right? Can you
Yeah.
immediately get the last drawn so-called salary, right? Can or not? Cannot. You can't. It's really tough
Mm.
because when you are in the business, right? There's so many things that you always put in place, which is the business first, rather
Yeah.
than yourself, right?
Yeah.
That is the thing that I know that wow, that's tough. But I have something that I'm lucky, right? Because of the assets that I own, it enabled me to really focus on things that I really like. I have the
Mm.
options to do things that I really like.
Mm.
Then I start building from ground zero. So from
Right.
first unit, second unit, third unit, and when we keep scaling to about 50, 60 units, right? I know that I'm actually back on track. I know that I'll be back
Right.
on track. correct.
Right.
Then this is where
Right.
I can scale and I can do beyond what I think that I can do during my corporate work.
So have
Hmm.
you taken a higher pay since then?
No, to to be honest, a lot of business owners, even like yourself, right? I believe a lot of times you will design in terms of reinvest back to the business,
Mm.
right? We also reinvest back to business. We hire more talents to help us.
Mm.
Last night there's only my wife, myself, myself, my wife, just two of us, right? Whatever
Yes.
things logistic is we do, events that we run, everything is all about us. But now
Mm.
we know that that's not the way. We got to get talents to come and support us. So whatever
Mm.
thing that we grow, we actually hire talents,
Yeah.
get talents
It's
back to
reinvested
beside
back to
us.
the
Yeah,
business. Mm.
then the synergy of the business start to move, and that
Yeah.
is, I feel, that is the right way to do. And
Mm.
we're fortunate because a lot of people are affected during COVID, and
Yes.
we grow a lot during COVID. We grew a
Mm.
lot, right? Including
Why
my
do you
weight.
think that
My
you
weight also
grew a
grew.
lot during COVID? That's interesting.
uh, because you see, we are actually in the co-living space. It
Mm.
means people will want more conducive space to stay, more
Mm.
affordable price to stay at a place where there's value added services like weekly cleaning. We have tenant managers that are taking care of them through the
Mm.
apps. If they have any case, they can log a case to us, or even
Right.
like move out services. So
Right.
they want a more private space, right, during COVID, because everything start to go online. Like we also met during Zoom and all these things. That's where everybody start to reconnect through online, and
Mm.
it means, right, I don't have to find a place that actually stay near to CBD area. No need already.
Right.
All right, and
Right.
people wants to, we have so many clients, right, that actually move from Shenton area. They moved to
Mm.
the western part of Singapore during COVID. Yeah, I
Oh.
speak to them. I say, hey, why do you want to shift? I think Shenton is such a nice place, right? At
Yeah.
near the MBS, you go for a run, everything is so nice, right? But they say
Yeah.
that, but if I take your room here, because of Zoom that I have, every month I can save $800 because I'm
Mm.
working, right? So they say I can save $800, and that's how we started. We do a lot of
Mm.
internal supports in terms of people, foreigners that stay in Singapore, or single millennials that's actually wanting a private space. Then individual, they want a networking session. Then they took our room. Yeah, so that's
Right.
how we grow. That's how we grow from
Right.
there. Mm,
Right. Right. So like the boom is also along with like the rental market booming lah,
mm,
which is why the business boomed a lot.
mm.
And do you feel that it's very challenging to convince people to um come on board co-living? Like,
Mm,
because I mean, people are like, when they think about getting their own place, they will think about rental, right?
mm,
Co-living is still fairly new. Do you think it's
mm.
challenging to convince people to get onto it?
Okay, I would say challenging angles will be at two portions, right? Two portions. First portions is owners. Now, owners is the trickiest components for me. All right, I'm more worried about the supply rather than the demand now. Right,
Mm.
a lot of owners are still not very open to co-living. Right,
Right.
you need some kinds of education process for them
Mm.
to really understand what is really co-living. But it also give me a very good green light to say that, hey, this is also a good opportunity for us. Because
Mm.
when nobody is really, it's not easy, when it's not easy to break through, right?
Yeah.
So it also means that my opportunity stays the highest, right?
Yeah.
Because if one day any of the owners want to do co-living, right, then there's a time that, wow, everyone is talking about co-living, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is where I find that it is irony, right? At one angle, I want them to listen to me, but at the other angle, it's not easy. But I find that there's more opportunity, right? So first part is
Mm.
owners. Second part is more on individual working professionals. As
Yeah.
long as millennials have working capability or financial means, right, they
Mm.
will explore. They are okay and they are open to explore in this space. All right, we're getting more and more inquiry from local Singaporeans,
Right.
and we ask them, hey, why do you want to stay? because you have your own house and your parent is still helping you. Why don't you
Yeah.
just save your rental? A lot of times they came back to us and say, for example, they want their own privacy. They want
Mm.
to enjoy what is the real adulthood on themselves, right?
Mm.
And third one is usually for couple who are getting married. They really want to understand, staying together, is it okay with their lifestyle? And this
Mm.
is where we find quite a number of inquiry that's coming in. And
I
especially,
see.
property price is moving pretty crazy, right? Every
Mm.
PSF that now you're going through is like, wow, it's so high. And a lot of people are also opens to rental. So if
Mm.
they are opens to rental, right, it also leads to opportunity for us. So that's how
Mm.
we started from there. Mm,
Right. And then also because like co-living is a relatively more like affordable option as compared to
mm,
rental,
yes.
um, in a way, right?
You don't have to rent the whole units. You just rent the space that you required. Then you
Mm.
share the common function like the kitchen, the dining
Mm.
areas, the bathrooms, and yeah, just share with the rest. And
Mm.
most of them are quite fine with that.
Mm.
The
Okay.
working professionals. And we do have two groups of people that work closely with us. Most of them are working professionals. The
Mm.
other are tertiary students, like
Mm.
NTU, NUS students who came from
Foreign
overseas.
students. Yeah.
Yes, they need a space to stay. So we work closely with them, and yeah, it works very well with us.
Mm. Okay, my next question I want to ask you, what has been the biggest challenge in business so far?
Biggest challenge, hiring talents is one of the biggest challenge. I
Mm.
feel, all right.
I feel
Um,
it too.
you feel that too? It's not easy, right? And a
And I
lot
think
of
recently there have been this huge shortage like
mm,
across a lot of industries. Yeah.
mm, you are I feel it that way.
Mm.
And a lot of times business now need to change, right, on how to so-called invites the talents to join the company, right?
Yeah.
It could be like employee share options, it could be other function, right? So
Mm.
to us, this is one of the key challenges. And in co-living industry, right, it is very different as compared to uh, unlike like my previous environment where I'm in IT, right? IT are always dressed nicely and go to meet clients, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of times that we meet in hotel lobby, we meet out with them, chit
Yeah.
chat. So it's a very different environment. Suddenly
Mm.
now I wear Bermudas, I wear boots, I wear so things have changed, right? So same thing
Mm.
with talents, right? They're coming to my environment, they will say, well, very different as compared to my working professional areas.
Mm.
So that's
Mm.
one key things are talents.
Mm.
Second thing is, as I highlighted, the supply components.
Mm.
I'm more on education process, right? I have to educate a lot of owners, telling them that what we do. So that is the portion that is tricky, right? There is part of time that we run out of rooms, meaning that we have zero rooms as available. Everybody
Right.
congratulate me and say, "Wow, very good at Ernie. I'm so happy
Yeah.
for you." So everything
But they
is fine.
don't realize that is a problem as
It's,
well,
yeah,
right?
it is a problem, because
People
I
always think that like good sales is
ah
great, but they don't realize the fulfillment part is the huge
correct.
issue.
That I cannot scale, and I have demands that's coming in from school. They say that only okay, Ken. I have 40 rooms that I need your support. Huh? 40 rooms?
Right.
But where do I have 40 rooms for you?
Right.
So that is our challenge, right? These are
Mm.
two key challenge, and the
Mm.
rest are pretty okay because we use technology to help us. So it does
Mm.
help in streamlining the process. Owners and all this thing when they receive and use our apps, and I think they are quite happy to use our products. They find that there's key differentiators in terms of the process, and
Right.
that is where they really like us to get involved in
Yeah.
managing their properties from there. Mm,
Mm, mm, mm.
mm,
The main difference is, I mean, just to share also because I'm very familiar with the business. The main difference is really the tech that
mm,
enables people who live in a co-living environment to be able to like book certain services. Let's say your lights
mm,
spoil, and
mm,
then I think what was very interesting when you shared with me was that when your light is spoiled, then the tenants will just usually leave it there and then get the homeowners, ask the homeowners to fix it, right? But
Yes.
with the platform, you can actually get it fixed and then can split the cost among
Mm,
among the tenants. And then also, I think when I stepped into that like co-living environment, it was very interesting because it feels like it's a guided experience. It doesn't
mm,
feel like you're coming into a rental space, like you
mm.
have like notices at the door that say certain things, and it's just very professionally done. So I think that has been interesting. Yeah. What do
But
you
this
look
is
out for?
also, sorry,
Sorry,
if
I
I,
don't.
you don't mind, I add one more thing. Because of tech, right, it actually enables future AI's components. Because
Mm,
things like, if someone has been, because like, for example, like cleanings is done, right, there's feedbacks and surveys there's feedbacks, meaning that, hey, give me 3 star, 4 star, 5 star for today
yeah.
cleaning, for example.
Mm,
So this kind of feedbacks are instant feedback one, right? Actually
mm,
enable us to pull into future AI, right? To really
right.
predict whether these tenants will renew or not renew with us. Yeah. If
Wow.
suddenly all the components of happiness index is low, right? Then it allow us to stand by with this, start stand by with it. Hey, better do something about it to make sure that the clients continues to renew with us. So this kind of
Mm,
technology, it will help. You will really, really help. Give us a good
mm,
insight of what is going on in
mm.
terms of people staying in the units. Mm,
Can you give an example? Like, it's very interesting. Like what you're
mm.
saying. Give an example of what you mean. Like,
So,
like we say the
mm.
cleaning is low and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so for example, right, if I myself is actually the tenant, right, and
Mm,
we do weekly cleaning, right, and this weekly cleaning itself, when someone done the cleanup, immediately there's a survey that pop in. They will say that, hey, do you like it? You have 1 to 5 star. If you have always a 5 star, it means that the cleaner's done a good job in general,
right.
right?
Right.
But if the feedback came back at 3 star, then we'll ask for feedback. So what are
Mm,
things that maybe is not done correctly? And if
mm,
feedbacks came in, right, we will continues to improve, right? Feedback is for us
yeah.
to do correction, right? So
Correct.
we like going to the moon, right? We don't go straight to the moon. There's always corrections before we reach the moon, right? So we do the corrections angle, and with the correction, or if feedback start to improve, there's a high chance that they will renew. But if there's no improvement that is over the period of time, right, this system, the AI, will actually prompt you clearly and ask you to
Right.
stand by the A, be alert on these tenants. It
Mm,
might not be, there's a very high chance they cannot be renewed
I
because of what are the
see.
reasons. So these
I
are very
see.
good insight for us. So who are
I
the ones that
see.
we're going to put in a lot of attentions, and yeah, these are things that it will really help us. Mm,
Right. Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. And this has always been a very like how do you say, it's always been a very manual way of
mm,
maintaining the relationship, right? Like the landlord has to ask the tenant, hey, how are you happy? Blah blah blah. And it's a very on-site thing. But now with the tech,
mm,
the feedback channel is going to help, and you guys have already a system to sort of automate that.
mm,
Right.
mm.
Mm. Very interesting, very interesting. Okay, and then I think my question next would be almost my last question already. Like unless you have anything else that you want to share. Um,
No problem.
sorry. Before we go into that question, right? What I wanted to ask is what are you looking for when you hire? Because you mentioned a big challenge in terms of hiring.
Okay. Um, we because you most of the people know that most of my contacts and my business associate, they know that I do have a education right. So I do teach people about how co-living can be done and from the
Mm,
angles, right. So to me, right, it's also a good alignment where I share with people that is like-minded first,
yeah.
right. That is really keen into the journey of what I've been doing, and I shared with them my vision of what I want to do in Bespoke Habitat, how I want to grow the
Mm,
business, and some of them actually got the same alignment. Right, they feel that hey, it's something that they are keen to
mm,
even explore. Also, for example, right, running their own a co-living space. Right, but my offer and my intention is always this thing: why don't we work together, right? From that
mm,
aspects, we work together, we build a single brands. So they are my partners, right? They have units, but they work together, and we build a single brands, and that's how we scale fast, right?
Mm,
And through that, right, the same alignment when come in, right, this is where we find talents. We find
mm,
talents. Because if you ask me for startup like us, right, can you really pay the talents in terms of using money? It's
yeah.
very, very tough. It's very, very, very tough. It's either go through the components of vision, you
Mm,
let them know your vision, you
yeah.
let them understand where's the alignment of how you run the business. Some of them are okay, they are willing to be aligned with you, and that's where I come in to share with them my journey. And if they're okay, then we move on from there. That is
Mm.
how I find my colleagues, how
Really
we
the
grow through.
alignment
Yes,
part. Yeah,
it's
it
really
is
through
very
this process.
challenging.
It's
Yeah.
really through this process. It's not through like normal hiring process. Like we go to, it could be job portals and even at LinkedIn. To be very honest, startup space, right? Um, if you just want to go through the hiring process, I think people are also choosing a company like us, right?
Mm,
You compare you with the large MNC. In large MNC, there's so many perks that I give it to
yeah.
them. They cover your, I don't know, your, including ladies, for example, if they are giving birth, they cover their 5 months, 6 months, I don't know, so many things they are giving to
Yeah, you got
them.
lunch credits, dinner
Ah,
credits, 1,000
then
credits.
they go to gym free, they go, oh, so many things they are actually
Yeah.
supported. So people like us, we not easy, but what we will do is we go through the journey of alignments in our vision, and if
Mm,
they got it, you'll be there, then the synergy will happen. I'm
yep.
really grateful with my team. All right, without my team, there's no way that we can grow, and there's zero
Mm,
chance that we can grow. It's because
yeah.
of the team alignment. uh, we grow at a speed which is people are actually impressed lah, to be
And y'all
honest.
were two people in 2020, right? Or 2021.
2019, end of 2019,
And then two people in 2019. And then now it's
about 16 of us. Yeah, 16 of
wow.
us.
Wow.
We are growing at a okay speed. Okay. To me, I find I'll pat my shoulder. I'll say that this journey is very fruitful. I won't beat myself up. I'll take credits for all my colleagues. All right, they deserve it. All right. That's why alignments is so important. We have one common goal, and everyone march through the common goal. Yeah,
Mm,
that's how we grow. Mm.
mm, mm. Okay, my last question for you,
Mm.
Ernie, is where do you see yourself in 10 years? And then maybe you can
Um,
say
mm.
for yourself as well as for Bespoke.
No problem. On myself, I would say bespoke first. All right. I
Okay.
think bespoke is something that I have more story lines
Put
and
your
things I
business
want.
before yourself, right?
It's like that. If you're an entrepreneur, you'll be like that, right? You take care of your business before whatever things that is for yourself, right? So in terms of bespoke habitat, there is a shorter term goals that we want to achieve. So in the next 2 years' time, we want to make sure that we have 350 properties in Singapore, right? So it means that we have a good tenant profiles that we actually managing, and we started in UK. We want to start branching to other country also. We are in we are in discussion with KL side, also discussion in Indonesia, and of course UK. We started off. So we want to start off with this angle within the next 2 to 3 years time. Regional areas should be ready, right? We should be ready with regional presence, right? But the function of a co-living space for us, it is not just about a co-living space, right? It is where how can we support B2B, right? How can we support B2B clients when they have so-called their staff or their colleagues when came to Singapore, came to other country,
Yeah.
come to other country, how can we really help them, right?
Yeah.
On settling down fast, and
Yeah.
yet this is not one of the biggest concern for their uh, consideration of hiring talents. You know, some of the talents that they hire, right? The B2B space, when they hire talents from other overseas country, they will always ask, where can I stay and a lot of other stuff,
Mm,
right? So we
mm,
want to be the strategic partners with the B2B space, saying that, hey,
mm,
don't worry, in terms of lodging, just come to us, right?
mm.
And if the hiring that is coming down require
Yeah.
them to travel, example
Mm,
like in KL, in Thailand, in Indonesia, where when we are really in present space, in ASEAN presence, right? Then this is where we can come in to support them really. All right. We no
Mm,
longer just do as a co-living space, but we allow them to move around, right? How we
mm,
can actually support you in this space. So this is where I find that this is the very short-term journey, the 3 years to 3 to 5 years mark. This is where we want to grow in our presence. But in a even longer round, in the longer journey that we want to do, I'm still a property investor, right? All right, I
yeah.
still want to own properties, right?
So
That's still my
mainly
goal.
like your short term goal is that you are trying to look for more businesses,
Mm.
like for
Building
them,
presence in different
yeah.
countries.
Right. So,
Mm.
for them, if they are coming to Singapore or like
Mm.
UK,
Mm.
then you would be able to place their employees in like with spaces to live in.
Mm. If they need
Mm.
to travel, they can continue to use our services in other country. If they need to go to
Oh,
Malaysia, they can use in Malaysia. They want to go in Thailand. They
right.
can do that. So that's where we want to form our ASEAN presence, first, right?
I see.
But
So
in
really like
the
a hotel.
no,
Like,
cannot. You cannot say that we're a hotel. No, no, no.
yeah, but I mean the
Because hotel got
concept,
hotel
right?
brand.
The concept
Yeah.
is even you're looking at even short term kind of stays as well.
Not really, but okay,
Oh.
co-living is still mainly on longer
Okay,
term
so still
stays,
long
right?
term stays.
So in
Mm.
Singapore context, the minimum you have to do 3 months stay at least, right?
Okay,
But in
okay.
in a longer route, yes, this is where you are right, right?
Mm,
We do not just want to do into this space, where we
mm,
want to bring like service apartments or even a boutique hotel. We
mm,
want to really own it on our end to really grow the business, right? In
mm,
this space, because as of
mm.
now, right, I'm still managing properties from the landlords, and landlord might not want to work closely with us. Maybe one day they want to sell their
Mm.
house. Then we run out of one properties. All right.
Yeah.
So this is where we also know in long run we need to have full control. We need to have full
Mm,
control of the whole business, right?
mm,
And this is where we want to pivot ourselves. So in
mm,
longer runs, we still want to own assets class like service apartments, boutique hotels. These are things that we want to do, right? And we also want to build team, special teams in special country in a co-living space.
yeah.
Example like we want to maybe in Indonesia, there's a lot of talents in the IT space, right? So we want to do like co-living space, especially for IT folks, right?
Mm,
And that also give us a support, right? To go to B2B and tell them that, hey, what can we do with the talents that we actually housing people there, right? So that give us a lot of future synergy, lah. And
mm,
and of course, in the shorter term runs, as of now, we've been doing co-living space, right? For this year, we really start to change from uh, outsource to in-source model, right? So example, like initially when we start doing, we outsource cleaning and we have other like handyman services, and these are all outsourced. But when
right.
our volume start to increase, right, we start to do in-source, meaning
Right.
100% our
The
team.
in-house. Yeah.
Yes, we got
Mm,
the teams that we built up so that they can go and do services within all our properties. But at the
mm,
same time, right, we are expanding horizontally, right? Meaning
mm,
we are also going to consumer and consumer and say that, hey, if you want your house to be clean, right, using technology as a function, as a, for example, like if you are not aware that when is your room being unit is being cleaned, right?
yeah.
Don't worry, owners, you just download our apps, right? When our cleaners
Mm,
clean your room, clean your
mm,
house, right? You can actually get informed, right? You can feedback
mm,
to us. So we use tech to go in. So we don't
mm.
just do within our co-living space now. We also
Right.
expand our business horizontally to consumer, direct consumer, right?
Mm,
So our business model is always aiming for recurring business. That is
mm,
our core value. We don't do like one-time projects and in that space. We want to do recurring model. So that's what where we want to keep stacking good customers, and that's where we can grow the business from there. Mm. So
okay.
that's perhaps the short term and long term journey that we have. Mm.
What about for yourself, Ernie?
Oh yeah, talk until I forgot about myself. So for myself, I because I like property investing, right? During the earlier journey, I felt that it is not easy for myself. I do own single units. It could be industrial, commercial, or residential units. I could actually own a single unit. That one not a problem.
Mm.
But when I take a look at a higher angle of whole buildings, wow, I also touch myself and ask myself in my heart, right? Hey, is it is it possible to really do it from humble family, right? I don't come from rich family. Most of my friends know that because of my mom. My mom was diagnosed with illness very young at 33, and she passed away at 49. But the medical
Mm.
bill that we have to support is about 4,000 every month during the time. So I
Wow.
only 13 years old. So I distribute newspaper to survive together with my
Wow.
brother. So we wake up at 5 a.m. every day. Only Chinese New Year first day we don't need to work because the print
Wow.
is not available, right? So
Yes.
you see, I don't come from rich family, right? So
Right.
I asked myself, is it possible that I can really own a bigger assets? So I feel that it's maybe a bit difficult,
Mm.
but with business, maybe I can.
I
With businesses,
see.
I can, right? So that's the reason why I decided to move into this space, right? To go into
Mm.
co-living because I want to have a day I really owns a building. Right?
Entire
It's not
building.
like, yes, I mean it don't have to
Wow.
be a big one, right? It can be starting
Yeah.
from a smaller one, maybe 5 level. I'm happy with
Right.
it. It's
That's like
just
your
like a
your
fulfillment.
dream. Right.
Yes, it's like a fulfillment
Wow.
because you see a lot of the kids when okay, a lot of us when we are much younger, right?
Mm.
We play Monopoly, right? So we play greenhouse. But when can we play Red House? It's really not easy. No, it's really not easy, right? I always ask myself how to play Red House. It's really not easy. So that is
Mm.
the angle that I'm building up, and I want to use this good business that I've been scaling up to go into a bigger assets class, and that is
Mm.
really for my own fulfillments. I would say it's really
Wow.
a dreams that I really want to achieve, right?
Wow.
So that's why
Wow.
I left my career, man, right?
Mm.
Because I know it might take years to achieve it. If I don't leave now or during that time, it will be a dream that never be able to fulfill.
Mm.
So that's a very big push factor. Then I say, okay, I
Wow.
think it's good. Let's do it. Whether you can achieve it or not, don't worry. Just just do first, right?
Wow.
Then from there, do corrections and we improve from there. So that's
Mm.
about myself and for the company then.
Okay,
Mm,
thank you, Ernie. Very, very nice hearing from you. And now I know like your end goal, your dream, right?
mm.
Very, very exciting. Hope you can own like a building soon. And I'll visit your building. um, yes, so if anybody is interested to check out Bespoke Habitat, you can do so by going to the Bespoke Habitat page. Yeah, and then also I think we have tagged Ernie in the comments. So if you know you're interested in co-living, in seeing how like your business can place people remotely, yeah, feel free to reach out to Ernie,
Thank you so
and
much.
then he will be in touch with you. Okay, thank you, Ernie.
Thank you so
I will
much.
end this broadcast already. Bye,
Thank you. Thank you.
everyone.
Take care, everyone. Take care.